Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Community FC. We've got an episode of the Roundup review coming for you. You've actually got season 2, episode 9. I know it's been a little while, couple of weeks since we've done a last upload. Life, unfortunately, has got in the way. We've had new jobs, people being ill, lots of stuff been happening. So it's just been one of them. But we wanted to make sure that we were getting some content in as and when we can. So as always, I have my constant co-host Rich. How you doing, mate?
Very good. Thank you, Aidan. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. Good. I'm glad to be back on and doing this. It's been a while, and I feel like,
It's been a while.
ironically, we're going to talk about probably the same topics we did the previous episode that we did, but it's getting to that elusive end of the season. So there's plenty to talk about and lots of tasty scenarios. And for anyone worrying, you shouldn't worry about summer because we're going to have you covered with lots of other content and bringing you all that kind of stuff. So we've got last kind of weeks of the season to fizzle out, depending on your team. Not many matches left at all. For example, my team has one game left of the season, but we're not going to talk about it too much today. But I think I can speak for both of us. Both me and Richard are wanting the season to just finish now. We've both had woeful times in the last few weeks, and let's ignore it and talk about other teams.
Yep. Let's get it over with this season. Done with it.
Cool. So we're going to start off basically two topics today and some smaller topics in the first section. We're going to talk about the Premier League and then we're going to talk about the Champions League because they are the two main things at the moment. So starting off, I think let's just talk top of the table. Let's just go with that. So do you want to kick off on this one?
Yeah. So we had a bit of a shock last weekend with Liverpool dropping points. They were the first to blink. They now find themselves 3 points behind City. City in the driving seat,
and
I think that might be it.
Yeah,
I think that might be it.
I don't. It's a really interesting one. They were, we've had the constant talk, and I know we got annoyed before earlier on in the season. Now it's a bit different to be like, oh, the title race is over now and stuff. But when you're coming to the tail end, or as I hate this, I will have a quick rant for a second. I hate where they call it the business end of the season because even at the start of the season, getting 3 points for certain teams is the business end of the season. So
listen, if we didn't have a business end of the season in January, then we would be in the relegation zone. So
yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, it's all business.
Exactly. So that's Community FC, all business, all season. Anyway, yeah. So we're getting to the end of it, and I do think that is kind of the title blow. Obviously, somebody could slip up again, but on the form, you just weren't expecting either teams to kind of slip up, and then it was kind of a surprise. I will, however, say that Spurs should have won. Like Spurs should have got all 3 points. They had a really great chance. I mean, they had lots of good chances all game, but they had a really great chance in like the 93rd minute, I think it was, when they had two players over on the far post and Kane over there. And it was just, I think it was Winks just went for a wild shot. And it was just,
Yeah, I mean, you would have got the stick for that as well.
Yeah.
Back in the dressing room. But do you know what? To take any points from Liverpool at Anfield is big. It's huge. And I think that a lot of Liverpool fans have been criticising some of the players for the last few games, Salah being one of them. And obviously we know there's speculation about whether Salah's going to be staying this summer. So I think that might well be the final nail in the coffin for a lot of them in terms of how they feel about Salah. A lot of them felt that he didn't give his all on Sunday. Was it Saturday? Saturday. No, it wasn't. Against Tottenham. And, I think that along the line, one of the teams was going to run out of luck. Man City had that patch a little bit earlier on in the season, which let Liverpool catch up. I also think that result from Man City with Real Madrid maybe galvanized them a little bit. I think, it could have gone two ways. It could have gone either they reacted badly to that Real Madrid loss, and we could have seen them lose at the weekend, or we could have just seen them double down and say, well, in that case, then we better win the league.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. I was skeptical of which way it was going to go. I thought they might have been so shocked because it was, obviously we'll touch on it in the Champions League bit, was such a shocking kind of result. But I do think you make an interesting point about Salah. I think, if I'm honest, I think he's got a couple of things going for him. I think he's suffering a bit from burnout and carrying the team quite a lot. And he's obviously had twice, and I do think this is for me the major thing here, twice have had Senegal knock Egypt out and knock him down and knock his confidence. And I think the second one especially really got to him for the World Cup qualifier. And obviously there's all that talk about Mane and Salah and which one's going to go. You could see both go, but I said at the beginning I think it's going to be Mane, and apparently today Bayern Munich are sniffing for Mane. So from quite reliable sources. So interesting to see on that one. I think that City. We said this though, didn't we? I think it was always City. We phrased it as it was City's league to lose, but I also think Liverpool are fighting on so many fronts, trying to go for the quadruple that that can also play factors in these things, and it's just one of them. I don't see them slipping up anymore, and I think that Liverpool will probably win their remaining games, and I think City will probably win their remaining games.
Well,
and it will
hold
be
on a second there, because they've got to play Southampton next week.
They do. Are we going to see a resurgence?
Well, the thing is, like I said it a few weeks ago to some other Saints fans. You could probably put money on Southampton losing all of their games but getting something at Liverpool.
I mean, you have been kryptonite for the top 6 this season, but
we can't play football against anyone else.
Season.
We can't play football against anyone else, but we somehow seem to pull out some big performances against some big teams.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a Saints fan, it would be lovely to be the ones that formally dump them out of the title race. But I'm also well prepared for another 9-0. So it could go either way.
The extremes of a 9-0 or a stop in Liverpool.
Well, this is it, and it was a great quote from the Brentford assistant manager at the weekend, and he said to the team before the match, "You never know about Southampton. They can either win 10-0 or lose 10-0," and that's absolutely
very true.
Very, very fair. So yeah, but also they have got United. You got to think at some point United are going to just actually get a result, because they can't just keep losing.
We've only got one game left, haven't we? It's Palace. That's it. That's our last game.
I've got.
We're not playing them.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at a different list. I thought you did have them left.
No. Yeah, United have got one game left, and so yeah, it's
Liverpool have got Villa tonight, Southampton, then Wolves.
And Villa was the one that actually people were saying could be quite interesting, because last time they played them, that was a result for Villa as well. So that's what people were speculating. I do think though, they would have been really hurt by dropping points at Spurs, and they're still fighting for everything else. So I generally, as I said, I think we'll see them get City and Liverpool win every other game now, and that's just mean the damage is done, and they'll nick it by 3 points. Anyway, we'll move on from the top. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, actually, we should say, I'm sure both of our answers are going to be the same, but I wanted to just say, so were you both saying City for the title prediction?
Yes, City for the title. Liverpool obviously second.
Yeah.
We could talk Champions League places.
Yeah, you might as well jump into the next bit.
That could get quite spicy, couldn't it?
Absolutely.
Because Chelsea have shit the bed a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They've got, who have they got left? They've got Leeds tomorrow night.
Yeah, which is huge for both.
Yeah, massive for both. We'll cover that a bit later, I think, as well. Then they've got Leicester next week, and then finishing with Watford.
Yeah.
So Leeds could be a stumbling block.
Yeah, I mean, they've been awful recently, but I think that, again, like I've just said against Liverpool, I think that Connor Cody 93rd minute is going to really, really haunt them, and they actually will probably just retain third by managing to win those last couple of games. But they could make it interesting if they keep on their form. Maybe with the it seems that the club's been kind of settled, and an owner is going to be taken. They were there on the stadium on Sunday, weren't they? The Dodgers owners. So that seems to have been easy. So, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that can affect Chelsea and the results. But I think, it's interesting if it got close. But again, I think they just hold on to it. But then we talk about a fourth spot. I mean, kick off on that one.
Yeah, so, Arsenal have got, interestingly enough, they've got a fairly challenging little run in here. They've got Tottenham on Thursday.
Which is huge.
Massive game. Because realistically, I think that decides fourth spot.
And at Spurs,
Tottenham it's at Spurs. Tottenham are 4 points behind Arsenal.
Yes.
So, if they win, I think they'll be able to got a muscle into that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If Tottenham lose on Thursday, they're out of the shout for the top four.
Yeah.
Arsenal, they got Newcastle, which could go either way, really, depending on which Arsenal turn up. Then they've got Everton, which is going to be a hard game because they are going to be.
You don't want to
fighting.
play. You don't want to play relegation teams at the last end of the season, especially when it's coming down to this wire.
Not at all. And then Tottenham. Quick look at Tottenham. They've got Arsenal, obviously, Burnley, the Norwich. So you've got Burnley's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, exactly.
Norwich already gone, so you know they're either going to be. To be fair, they could either be roll over at the beach, don't care anymore, or they could be, well, there's no pressure anymore. So
yeah, very true.
Sometimes teams play some brilliant football when there's no pressure. So
I just think, I think everything we've said tonight is kind of repeating ourselves, but I really do think it's up to for these two. I think it's up to that North London derby, and then I think it's up to form. Are we going to see the Kane Son show or Kulusevski, you know, carrying on and performing well, or are we going to see Eddie and Nketiah like absolutely turn up and bang as well? Like, but both of them have been very hit and miss over different periods, and that's absolutely what makes it so interesting as well. But I do firmly think that, as you said, that game is going to decide that match. When Arsenal had games in hand, you were like, could go anyway, but they've obviously had them and clawed them back and put themselves in a really, really good situation. If you wanted to take a prediction, who would you go with?
Chelsea 3, Arsenal 4, I think.
Yeah,
I think it stays as it is. I think Chelsea have got the quality to stay there.
Yeah,
Arsenal have got some tough games coming up.
Yeah,
and honestly, I know they've got 4 wins on the bounce now, Arsenal.
Yeah.
But Arsenal, they're one of the streakiest teams in the league.
Yeah.
And they will go 4 wins and then they'll go 4.
And that's why I've been going back and forth. I'm so hesitant because I think even though Spurs have been very up and down as well and patchy with form, they just seem to have found a little bit of rhythm now. And I just worry if Nketiah or someone isn't turning up or Saka's not turning up, you just might see them drop that one game.
They'll be buoyed by getting a point from Liverpool.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think on their day, a Tottenham that's turning up.
Well, Son can't be stopped at the moment, regardless of Kane.
Well, this is it, isn't it? And that's a question that always baffles me. Really, is everyone talks about where's Kane going, but what about Son?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I think arguably, for me, I'd take Son in my team over Kane because Kane is injury prone, and I think he's quite a confidence player, whereas Son just turns up and does the business every week.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, you'd take both of them, though, wouldn't you, to keep that incredible link-up play going? But
well, yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. But I do think that again, it all comes down to this North London derby. If Tottenham are up to it, then I think that they really could put the pressure on both Arsenal and Chelsea, really.
And you know what? I absolutely do. And that's, regardless of the next topic, we're going to talk about the relegation zone in a minute. This has also been a really interesting, spicy battle. And the fact that it could come down to a derby deciding it as well makes that so much sweeter for the neutrals and obviously the winner of whichever side of North London wins. So obviously, I wasn't going to, but we will mention it quickly as well. So slightly below the top 4 spots, we'll talk about so United as well. So obviously dreadful, woeful form, not expecting anything. As I said, like I just expect draws or losses at the moment. I don't see it. The form has been awful. Ragnick doesn't seem to have the sway of the team. And sometimes it's not always a tactical thing, but it doesn't seem to be a tactical thing either. And again, I'm very caught in 2 minds because Ralph seemed to have done what he should be doing in his next role as consultancy, because he's being the Austria manager but still consulting next season. But he's turned a lot of stuff around from board level. So we've got rid of scouts, we've got rid of chief of staff, we've got rid of directors of football, that kind of stuff, and they seem to be slimlining that side down and aiming it to be a more football focused club again, not a revenue focused club again, which is brilliant, getting some of the Glazer puppets out and getting football people on board. So that's great, but the performance has been awful. My issue is West Ham, depending on the last games of the season, depending if we have another loss, West Ham's goal difference is much better. I don't want to be playing Europa League, let alone the potential of playing Europa Conference League, which is actually a very real situation for us now. And that's just crazy, isn't it? I'd much prefer not to play any European football.
I was going to say, arguably, you'd wish you could drop 8 points
Yeah.
And because that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
For Ten Hag when he comes in,
100%.
for him to have a year without European football, just to
because it's
get that team up to scratch.
The Thursday nights, and the problem is you go to Europa League, it's fine. Europa League is still a good standard of football, and you don't want to be in it, but when you get to the later stages, like when we lost the final, obviously we want to win the final, like we did several years before that. It's a good bit of silverware, even if it's not the glitz and the glamour of the Champions League. But however, the further down you get as well, the Europa Conference League is even worse times. It's even worse distances you have to travel, and it's just one of them where if you don't get top four, you're just like, I really actually don't want to be playing European football.
Well, I mean that is a very elitist view on it, because
course.
Realistically, I would take Europa Conference League any day.
It is a bias, but it's from a top, like a team that's going to hopefully try and title challenge again. You don't want those Thursday fixtures,
and that's the thing. And if you look at some of the runs, especially if we look at that Leicester City run from 2015, they obviously had no European football, so they were able to consolidate the league form. That would be very helpful. However, I do think West Ham are in with a chance here.
Yeah, I do. I totally do.
At finishing in sixth, because
I have no expectations of a confident win at all against Palace, because Palace have been slowly chipping away and doing their business this season, and Vieira proved me wrong, and has done some great stuff. And quite a lot of the time recently, in the last few weeks, they've won several times with the Zaha pen. I would not doubt we lose on that last end of the season with a Zaha pen.
Yeah, I mean that would be written in fate, wouldn't it? There.
Yeah. So we will see. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. I just thought it was good to mention the spots, because for people like West Ham and Wolves and stuff like that, they very much would love Europa League or Europa Conference League, which absolutely they should. Obviously, as you said, it's an elitist bias look from a top four perspective on European football. Anyway, so we will go now much further down to the bottom of the table, where if it possible, it's got even tighter and even spicier.
Yeah, so we'll start off by saying that since our last show, we've had two teams relegated.
Yeah.
So it comes as no surprise that Norwich and Watford have been relegated. I hope that Watford would stay up. I do quite like Watford. I've got a lot of time for a lot of their players. But unfortunately, they've just not done the business this season.
Yeah.
However, that final relegation spot is spicy.
It's so tight now.
Very, very tight. So obviously, at the start of the weekend, we had Everton in that 18th spot. Everton picking up a big win to come out of that relegation spot. Burnley found a little bit of form.
Yep. 3
wins on the trot has lifted them up into 17th now. And Leeds are in trouble. Yeah. Honestly, I think they are in big trouble. And actually, looking at this now, I think they probably go down.
Is that your pick? If you were picking one?
Yeah, if I'm picking one, I'm thinking Leeds, mainly because of that straight red for.
Do you know what?
Luke Ayling.
That's exactly the notes that I had down as well. We didn't talk beforehand about it, but it was Leeds have had awful form. It haven't recovered from Bielsa when the form was going down. Jesse Marsh has come in, hasn't had time. Like, let's be honest, he hasn't had time to implement anything. They've been awfully injury stricken this season, and that's people like to go, oh, loads of clubs are, but they have been. When you're missing your Phillips and Bamford, effectively your two best players, things are going to go wrong for you. And then, yeah, exactly. I think they've got a tough fixture list coming up, and then to lose, Luke Ayling, who's one of their most senior figures and their captain, I believe, most of the time. And it was a stupid challenge, and they're going to rue the day for it, because now they're going to have to switch their team around slightly when they didn't need it. And if anything, Everton have found some form and got points against all sorts of people that nobody thought they would. Chelsea, United, in the last few weeks, to kind of name a few. Burnley have found a bit of something about them. Not amazing, but a bit of something. And I do think it's going to be, in my opinion, as much as we all thought it was going to be Everton, it's going to be Burnley or Leeds now, isn't it? And I think Leeds are, in my opinion, by far the worst team currently on form.
Yeah, and this is the thing, really, because let's not forget Stuart Dallas is also out.
Yeah, with a broken leg now, isn't it? Again,
with a broken leg. Yeah, they really the quality that we know they've got isn't available, and I just don't know how they're going to get around that at this point. But I think with Burnley as well, they've got a couple of key players in there that do turn it on when they want. They obviously lost against Villa.
Yeah.
The weekend. They've got Tottenham, which is going to be a hard game. They've got Villa again. And they've got Newcastle.
But as we said, all three of them, Everton, Burnley, and Leeds, all have games that are going to be very difficult for them to get. So it is going to become. It's going to come into one of those three games. Burnley or Everton's going to get maybe 2 losses and a draw, and it's going to be that 1 point that saves them.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Everton have got Brentford, Palace, and Arsenal.
Yeah.
And Watford, actually, they've got 4 games to play, haven't they?
Yeah.
So Watford, as I said, already relegated. So probably maybe on the beach. Brentford, I think Brentford would be a tough game because they got a point to prove,
and they've been on good form.
They have been on good form. Absolutely smashed us at the weekend. They've got Palace, who again they're going to be looking for that top half finish. They're going to be looking to push and consolidate, and then they've got Arsenal. Who are going to be? That's going to be a tough game as well. It's going to be a spicy one. It's going to be a real spicy one.
And it's really interesting because where the fixtures got changed so much around this season, we obviously saying that Everton have an extra game there. We're saying United, for example, literally aren't playing for the last game of the last Sunday of the season now because we had the Chelsea fixture obviously had to be moved because of the FA Cup final. And so it is all these things, but it's interesting to see how these last couple of and it's all midweeks as well. So that has an effect that whether it is people are thinking about it or not subconsciously, changes the training, changes everything. So it is going to be absolutely one to watch. But anyway, so we're both saying City for the title. We're both saying Norwich, Watford, Leeds to go down. And I'm still on the fence about top 4. I part of me on form, I want to say Spurs. Part of me, though, in the back of my mind goes, it's going to be Arsenal, isn't it? So
if we talk in form, though,
Spurs,
Do we say that maybe Chelsea drop down?
No, I can't see it. I can't see it.
Can't see it, but
not with that squad and not with Tuchel. I can't. It would be incredible.
Stranger things have happened.
Absolutely, that would be wild if suddenly imagine that that Everton ended up being the one to be relegated and Chelsea missed out on top 4. Can you imagine?
Well, I wouldn't put it past anything this season. It's been an
absolutely mental. Anyway, let's kick on from the Premier League to talk about the Champions League because we thought obviously it is getting into the final is the last fixture come up. We had 2 very, very good legs of football from both teams. So we'll start with the more mundane one. And I'm sure, a 5-2 in aggregate doesn't really sound very mundane, but it is one of those things. So the first game was the Liverpool game. First leg, it was very standard Liverpool. They kind of just did their thing and went about it. The second leg, however, Villarreal got the Yellow Submarine rocking, didn't they?
It was amazing to see. And obviously, friend of the show, Steve, as a Liverpool fan, so he was getting a lot of stick from us that night, up until around the 60th minute. When Liverpool decided they wanted to show up.
When any team scores a 3rd minute goal against you in a fight back, and when it's at home, and especially like Villarreal again. People sometimes sleep on them. Their fans are incredible, and that arena was rocking. And so when you have that at the 3rd minute, you're thinking this could be one of those nights. But and then I've kind of got here. But second half, Liverpool looks back to their normal dominance. They got into their rhythm and they just dispatched them. So it wasn't anything too crazy. So obviously Liverpool coming into another Champions League final, they know the formula for Europe. They do it very well, and their team really looks up for it. However, you can kick off on this one.
Oh, what a game!
Actually, sorry, I'll cut in. I'll let you talk about it. I want to pose this question to you first / statement. Is this? I've put maybe, but you can answer this as a question. Is this the best, one of the best, or the best game of football over 2 legs you've ever witnessed?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be, right?
It's got a little.
Not saying it's the best game you've ever watched, but over 2 legs.
Yeah, honestly, it was just a brilliant game of football, really, wasn't it? And especially because for most of that game, you thought, well, this is City's now.
Yeah,
and you don't see smash and grabs happen against City. You just don't see it.
And not when they're that far away in the first leg, and then you're thinking they need a miracle and the time is running down for them. That was the major part.
Exactly. At 1-0, 89 minutes, you're thinking, wow, this is... And in fact, I'll tell you a little bit of a truth here, Aidan. I turned the TV off and went and started getting ready for bed.
I'm sure a lot of people did.
Yeah, I thought, it's 1-0. This is standard. It'll be a City-Liverpool final.
Yeah.
Got upstairs, started getting ready for bed, cleaning my teeth, look at my phone.
A lot of notifications.
What? What? Absolutely shocking. There was memes of people saying 1-0 down. Oh, Rodrigo's coming on. That's easy win for us.
I mean, to be fair, like, again, you can confirm or deny the story. Again, we haven't talked beforehand. At about 81 minutes, didn't I say Benzema? I was like, Madrid are going to do it, and Benzema's going to do it, because I predicted beforehand on the last episode that Real Madrid were going to win the final, and that was going to make him get the Ballon d'Or. we
all know that Benzema is amazing, and you stand Benzema, and I respect it. And if in fact, if you were to ever get a tattoo, it would probably be a tattoo of Benzema.
Absolutely not.
No, you would. No, you would. Trust me.
I love him as a player, but obviously not.
On your chest, a full portrait. That would be fantastic. But no, you did call that, and you said that, and the stage is set. I mean, he's just such a quality player.
But also, the crazy thing is, all the people saying about Rodrigo, he did it in the previous game as well. But the fact is, like, it's unheard of to be like, right, 90th minute, like, you get a goal, and then 90+1, you get the equaliser to go into extra time. Like, the turnaround, and City just absolutely lost their heads and it absolutely happens when you get something like that, and then they just didn't recover, and then shell-shocked when it happened again. And then we talked about Villarreal and the Yellow Submarine. We're talking about crowds that you want to have behind you. The Bernabeu behind you is probably one of the most fierce ones as well, and their fans were not giving up. And then as soon as he got the penalty, and that's the thing, he was so cool and calm, and it's just you knew he was going to do it. I mean, let's be honest, in the quarterfinals before that, he Panenka'd someone down the middle as well. Like, the pressure just doesn't get to him.
He's just such a top quality player, and he's always there in those moments where you need a big player.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming, to be honest. I thought that was City's. It was City's to lose.
Yeah.
But Real Madrid, such top quality. And that team they've got there, I think, is the start of something that could be very, very special.
Yeah, they have the players really click, and they do have a lot of old guard. But I know their league wasn't particularly tough this year with everything that happened. They obviously pretty much walked their league in comparison to lots of other years. But they just look on top form, and like Ancelotti, fair play to the man. First person to ever win effectively the Grand Slam with 5 different leagues. Like he's won the title, and he was like, this would finish off my career, and it absolutely would, and they're even coming out and already like speculating if he's going to stay next season or not. And he came out, the classic Real Madrid way, and was basically like, if they want me to stay a year, I stay a year. If they want me to stay 10 years, I'm staying 10 years. Like, it's one of those things where it's just working for him, and that squad it's just going for it. And I love to see King Karim just do his bits, and I love it. And I also love the fact that over the last couple of legs as well, he's come out with some of the interviews, because people always really disrespected him when he had Ronaldo and Bale and lots of other people, and he was in the kind of the shadow a little bit, but he was such an important player still then with the contribution he did. And he kind of came out and was just like, absolutely not. Ronaldo helped that team so much, and I was glad to be part of it. Like, and kind of was talking about that as well. So, and actually, I have to say this as well, obviously, from being a Manchester United fan, I said in our group chat as well, I couldn't think of anything worse than watching a Liverpool City final. I was like, do I even bother watching the Champions League this year? Because realistically, it's going to hurt either way.
I'll put you on the spot. If that was the final, who do you want to win?
So,
what is the lesser of two evils?
The thing is, for the league and stuff, it's very different and all that kind of stuff. For justification, it might seem they're definitely a bigger rival overall, but I would say I'd want Liverpool to win it, because City haven't won a Champions League, when we all know that Liverpool are Champions League specialists, and they
do you really want to give Liverpool fans another?
But do I really want to give City fans their first one? That's the difference.
You might as well.
So, but I don't have to worry about it now because I can quite happily sit back and watch King Karim absolutely tear it up and get the winning goal and win the Ballon d'Or like I predicted. So
this is it, and I think the rule is in our group chat at Steve's cost here is City for the league, Chelsea for the FA Cup, Real Madrid for the Champions League.
There you go, job done.
There we go. And that is the official stance from Community FC.
That is the official stance from Community FC. Anyway, I don't really have that much more to add on the Champions League. We just thought it was really important to talk about it. Obviously, yeah. Is that your hope or is that your prediction though for the win for the Champions League?
Yeah, Real Madrid.
So there we go.
It's my hope and it's my prediction. I think.
Yeah, me too. So we've put the predictions in there for everything from the Premier League to the Champions League. So that'd be an interesting one. We will be obviously getting the next couple of episodes out where we'll be covering the action kind of happen as it happens at the week, and then we will definitely do 100% a roundup review, funnily, of the season, and then we'll talk about maybe things that we predicted that didn't go so wrong or things that surprised us, and then we'll kind of talk about maybe an early speculation for next year, and then over the summer we're going to have a lot of fun stuff planned. Now I didn't have this down, but we will talk about it quickly as it seems to be pretty much confirmed today as well. But it's a sad day in some senses for the Premier League if you are one of the top teams and thinking that you're going to be challenging for the next few years, because Fabrizio Romano has confirmed today that Erling Haaland will be joining Manchester City. So I think most people are kind of resound to the fact that they're probably winning the Premier League for the next 5 years straight, or something ridiculous, until someone puts a team together to kind of combat them. The only thing that we can hope for rival for challenging people is that maybe they're so used to not having a focal number 9 or a striking point that they takes lots of goals away from the rest of the creative outlet, and they might need to go more route one. My gut feeling is no, they're just going to give him more service and probably just score 40 more goals than they already did this season.
Yeah, it's deadly.
He's elite. He is absolutely. I'd love to see him in United.
Him feeding from KDB as well is just going to be.
And they've got so many people behind him. It's going to be a joke. It's going to be a joy to watch that team from a neutral perspective. Obviously, I can't be that neutral, but they play some beautiful football. You can't deny that. And I think most people will be putting him as their captain pretty much straight away in Fantasy League in the coming season. So that was one to mention. Sad times for that, but brilliant for the Premier League and for neutrals as well. So that has been episode 9 of the Roundup Review. We'll be back again very soon. We know we've had a bit of a hiatus, but it can't help these things at times. But we're looking forward to some exciting football over the next few weeks. Lots of twists and turns, I'm sure, to happen because this season is just bonkers. Thank you so much again, as always, Rich, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, as always.
And we will catch you all very, very soon. Thanks very much.